Hello everyone, welcome to my fashion class, Sam&Beth Clothier. My name is Wally. Today we are going to be considering darts. Darts are essential parts of garment construction, most especially female garment construction. So by way of definition, what are darts? Darts are folds or tuck coming to a point sewn into fabric to take in ease and provide shape to the garments. So they are used frequently in all sorts of clothing to tailor garments to the wearer's shape. What are the purposes of darts? Number one, darts are used to tailor garments to the wearer's shape. Number two, darts are also used to make an innovative shape in the garments, and that is why we have different types of darts. We have bust darts, we have princess darts, and when you consider princess darts, it forms a kind of innovative shape, to the garments. And lastly, darts allow flat fabric to take on a shape that will fit the body well. You have to consider this point very well. Fabric is flat, but the body is not. The body is not flat. The body has height, it has width, and it has depth. And within this roughly cylindrical framework, there are a series of curves and bulges. We have the bust, and then we have the butt. So that make it possible to convert the flat piece of fabric into a three-dimensional form that fits the body bulges and curve perfectly. Now, part of that. There are four basic parts of a dart. The first one, we have the apex, which is the topmost part of the dart. The apex points to the prominent part of the body, 1 inch, towards the prominent parts. Then we have the two legs of the darts. These are two lines that are brought together to create a fold that is stitched. On these two lines, we make our stitches. Then we have the fold line. When you bring these two legs together, you are going to have a line which is at the middle of the dart, the middle point of a dart. Then we have the intake. The intake, this is the widest parts of the dart, known as intake or suppression. So it represents the amount of ease that you want to suppress in order to emphasize the prominent. Remember, I said that the apex points towards the prominent part of the body, either the bust or the butt or the hip. So when you suppress, the base, then the prominent part will be emphasized. Now, types of darts. We have, different types of darts, but for the purpose of this class, we are going to consider the following, about 6 of them. We have the shoulder darts, we have the princess darts, we have the bust darts, we have the French darts, then we have the waist dart. When you have it here, you have waist dart or waist dart, or when you consider the two, we call it double pointed darts. And then we have the center dart. Now, I want you to observe some principle here. I form a circle here. When you want to construct a dart, the first thing you need to do is to get the nipple to nipple points, end to end. You measure on the individual from the nipple, from the first nipple to the other, and then whatever you get, you divide it into 2, and then you will add sewing allowance, which is half an inch. So come to the pattern, you measure, assuming you get 8. When you measure, 8 divided by 2 is 4, plus half, 4 and a half. Come to this center front, you measure 4 and a half, then you draw this line that you are seeing at the middle of the dart. After you've done that, you locate the bust points, which is the nipple points. Measure the person, you get that by measuring the person from the shoulder to the nipple. Come to this line, you mark it. And depending on the type of dart you want to make, whether shoulder, princess, bust, French, or waist or center, you are going to move away from the bust point 1 inch. That's why I make this circle, because on all these type of darts we have 1 inch space away from the nipple points. So now this is the shoulder points. You draw a straight line from these nipple points to where you want the shoulder to be on the shoulder. Then you move away, measure from here 1 inch on this line. So from this line you make your darts. So depending on the amount of piece that you want to take off or suppress, so if it is 1 inch that you want to suppress, you put half an inch here, then you draw these legs, these 2 lines, you draw it from this 1 inch that you have marked. Also, we have princess dart. The same principle applied. You move away 1 inch from the nipple points, then you make the 2 legs, depending on what you want to take off or suppress. Then you draw the 2 lines. Also, the bust dart, also the same principle applies. 1 inch, then you draw the 2 lines. The French dart, this one goes into the side seam. This one, the bust dart goes, under the bust. Under the armpits, armhole from the bust. You make your dart. It goes under the armhole. After the armhole, like 2 inches or 2.5 away from the armhole, then you construct your dart. And this one runs into the side seam. Then we come to the waist dart. Now, this one, depending on the size of the individual, if the person is very busty, is very big, is very curvy, then the rest assured that you are going to take at least between 1 inch to 1.5, sometimes even 2 inches. If it's going to be 2 inches, you are going to measure from here to here 1, from here to here 1. So the total amount of ease that you want to suppress, from here is 2 inches at the end of the day. Let's assume it's 1, 1. So you have 2 inches. So by the time you suppress this place, the bust will be emphasized, because the dart is pointing at the bust and to make it very shapy. Also consider this one. This is the E part. This is the prominent part here also. Okay, but in the case of this one, because this is the front part, it's going to be 2 inches. It's going to be 2 inches. But when you are constructing the dart at the back, because there is prominence at the back, the butt is going to be 1 inch, away from the dart. But here is 2 inches, because there is nothing to really emphasize here. So you just move it away from the hip 2 inches. So, as I said earlier, when you are doing these two, let's say you are constructing a gown. So this dart here is double pointed dart, and also half of it is waist dart, waist dart. Now we come to the center dart. The same principle applies. Move away from the bust point 1 inch, then construct your darts. So we have come to the end of this class. In the next class, I'm going to teach you on how to do princess dart properly. This is not a princess dart. Then shoulder dart properly, how you connect it, and then together with other darts. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the class. God bless you.